like, aren't you that elephant woman or something? Because I've got this Instagram feed called The Elephant in My Wardrobe, which I set up in 2020 really to challenge throwaway consumption. And the reason that I set that up, it was kind of two facts that I learned. One fact was that in my lifetime, all wildlife populations, that's birds, fish, mammals, amphibians, everything, have declined by 75%. So since 1970, 75% of wildlife has gone. And the second fact I learned was, I think it was Oxfam said that basically we throw away 11 million textile items every single week here in the UK, which I find really sad. And I trained as a designer, so the idea that we're throwing so many clothes like literally in the bin, when you know how much is involved in kind of making clothes, I find that really heartbreaking. So those two facts kind of got me to sort of start The Elephant in My Wardrobe, and since then the people I've met, the conversations I've had. I was a creative director in the fashion industry for very many years. I gave my job up, I went back to college, I did an MA, and I am now, for my sins, doing a PhD in second-hand fashion. So, yeah. Yes.
Tell me a little bit about The Elephant in the Room then.
Well, it's The Elephant in My Wardrobe. The Elephant in My Wardrobe is an Instagram feed and a sort of blog and nominally a consultancy, but I really just talk about overconsumption. I talk about our attitudes to our clothes, our relationship with fashion, and I'm really interested in what we as consumers can do to catalyse change in the fashion industry.
Mm-hmm. And would you say in the beginning of your career with sustainable fashion, it's changed much in the last few years, or?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I really feel like there's a lot more awareness, isn't there? There's a lot more awareness. I think there's a lot more awareness of climate change, there's a lot more awareness of fashion's impact on the planet. I think people are starting to ask more questions, which I think is a really good thing. I think maybe from my perspective, having come from the fashion industry, the thing that makes me a bit sad is I don't really see fashion brands making the changes that they probably need to make at the scale that they need to scale, yeah. Yeah.
And would you say you'd give any advice to younger generations on how we could be more sustainable to help in the future?
Well, I think we all of us, and I think it's all generations, we need to sort of ask ourselves, what do we really need? We need to buy the things we love and kind of build bonds again, you know, because the fashion industry's changed so much again in my lifetime. You know, I often think about my grandparents. My grandma used to buy one dress in the spring and one dress in the autumn. And she would keep those clothes and she would kind of downgrade them. You know, they started out in the best bit of the wardrobe, and by the end of it they were sort of every day. And then I think they were kind of cleaning cloths. And I think we've sort of lost the sort of relationship that we have with clothes, that they're there for our lives. So I think maybe, you know, just start asking yourself questions. Do I love it? Am I prepared to care for it? Am I going to wear it lots? Do I really need it? Before you make the purchase. And then, you know, the other layer of that is, do I feel like the people that make these clothes have been paid a fair wage for them? You know, those kinds of questions.
Yeah. Would you say you faced many challenges in trying to be as sustainable as possible, or just in your career?
I think it is difficult, isn't it? I mean, I think, you know, when you're working, the system is the system, and you're inside the system, and you're just trying to do the best you can inside the system, and people are usually very busy, and so it's sort of not always easy to put your head above the parapet and see the bigger picture. And again, I think the thing that I quite often say, because I do a little bit of lecturing now, when I talk to design students, is ask questions. You know, you're going into the industry, just say to people, why do we do it like that? Do we have to do it like that? Is there another way of doing it? Because I think the people who are working inside the system, they're so used to it, they don't even think about asking questions.
Right.
So I think there's a huge power in sort of being curious, thinking about the impact of things, and just thinking if there are other ways to do it.
Okay, I'm quite curious. So obviously, do you design any of your own sort of fashion, or is it?
I don't design, I do upcycle.
Upcycle.
So this suit a friend gave me was full of moth holes, and he said, just don't wear it anymore, Jen. But you like that kind of stuff, don't you? You know, you could do something with it. So I put another friend of mine who works as a tailor, he had all these salve edges, you know, from the edges of the fabric when it's woven.
Okay,
and they throw them away. So he gave me a big bag of salve edges, and I've sewn them onto the suit over all the moth holes.
I really like it.
Because one of the things I love is made in Huddersfield. That fabric's from around here,
So what you're saying is, rather than, oh, it's got a hole and throw it away, just basically make it so it's new again.
Think what you can do with it. And the funny thing about this jacket, actually, because I only did this year, is every time I wear it, I get into a conversation with somebody really random on the street about the jacket and like why I've done it or what the story behind it is, and they start asking me questions. So I think also, again, there's no like perfect sustainability, you know, and everybody's got different priorities and different needs. But I think the more we ask questions and the more we talk about it, you know, the more we just start thinking, is that really what I want to do? Is that right? Does that sit with my values? You know, it's just like a different way of looking at clothes.
Do you think we should stop following clothes trends and just kind of being who we are and want to dress?
I think so. I mean, I think that's difficult, isn't it? And again, you know, you asked me about younger generations. I think it's difficult when you're young, you know, to kind of work out who you are, what you like. You know, as a woman through your life, your body shape is going to change loads of times, you know. So it's not easy, but I think, yes, starting to understand what you feel comfortable in as yourself and what makes you feel good is probably quite a good place to start. Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree. Because otherwise, we'll end up being less sustainable, just buying clothes, thinking, oh, actually, we don't like them. I think it's always best to go into the shop to try them on as well.
100%.
Yeah, because if you just order from online, how much back and forth of transportation you're using just from sending stuff back as well.
Well, I think the thing we underestimate as well in the world now, you know, everything's online, isn't it? So it's photography and, you know, but, you know, clothes are actually much more about how you feel when you wear them. You know, when you put them on and you're kind of like, oh yeah, that feels nice, yeah. And I think just that sort of sense of comfort, and because we buy so many things online now, you know, that's sort of like they arrive, they're not quite what you thought they were.
Not at all.
It's not quite as nice as you thought it was going to be, but you know, it's here, it'll do. But then there's no relationship, is there? So I think
that's when you throw them away or not want to use them again.
Exactly, I think you're 100% right. Like go into a shop, touch it, feel it, try it on. Yeah. Because also I think when you walk out and you're holding something that you've tried on and you know you like it, that's also an emotional connection, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than this parcel that arrives and you're a bit like, oh God, what's that?
Oh, do I remember ordering?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So I suppose the last question to finish the interview off nicely would be, what changes would you hope to see in the future to do with sustainable fashion? That's a very tricky question.
Well, I'm really interested in the second-hand market because I think there are, you know, somebody said, didn't they, there is a stat that there are more than enough clothes in the world to dress the next 6 generations already. And if you think we make somewhere between 100 billion and 150 billion new items of clothing every year, you sort of imagine all of that stacking up. So I think it's becoming easier and easier and easier to consciously shop second-hand and make that your first choice and actually find the things you really want second-hand, you know, not go and rummage necessarily in a charity shop, but think, well, I like that top, I'll wait because somebody will sell that again next year. So I'm interested in second-hand. I'm interested in this idea that more and more of us will buy more of our wardrobe second-hand. But the important bit about that is then we have to start making less new clothes. And I'm interested in how that might happen. You know, how do second-hand purchases actually mean that brands don't make more new clothes?
That's a good insight, because I think everyone wants to make profits, so there'll never be any brands, especially the big ones, to stop just making clothes, will there? But
well, I don't know. I mean, I think, you know, there might be legislation. I think there are consumer attitudes, aren't there? You know, brands
or limit how much they're making.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think maybe we're in a space where there might be a transition.
Potentially. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for agreeing for the interview.
Pleasure.
That's